Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. We are on text 27-28. Sparshan Kritva Bahirbhayams Chakshus Chaivantare Bhruvoho Prana Panav Samo Kritva Nasa Bhayantara Charino Yatendriya Manobuddhir Munir Moksha Parayanaha Vigate cha bhaya krodho yasada mukta evasa. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. So Krishna has been giving knowledge to Arjuna in this section of how a Krishna conscious person, how he behaves, what does he do. So now, reading the purport, being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity. And then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. When one is well situated in devotional service, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme. So, liberation in the Supreme. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity. Understand that, oh, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So I need to understand, who am I? Oh, I'm the soul. Then this is all happening by engaging in Krishna consciousness, by engaging in devotional service. Then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. So engaging in devotional service, it begins by hearing and chanting. The more we hear and chant, we will understand the Supreme Lord. And then when one is engaging in pure devotional service, well situated in devotional service, then he comes to the transcendental position. He has understood now, I'm not the body. He's understood. He's the soul. He's qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. And this is liberation in the Supreme. This is the point of liberation in the Supreme. So we can see by engaging in devotional service, we can come to this point. By hearing and chanting, we can come to this point. After explaining the above principles of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as to how one can come to that position by the practice of the mysticism or yoga known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible into an 8-fold procedure called Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. So Krishna first told Arjuna how, by engaging in Krishna consciousness, he can come to the point of liberation. Then now Krishna is going to give in the 6th chapter, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna how he can come to the point of liberation by practicing the Ashtanga Yoga. Because by following Ashtanga Yoga, also one can come to liberation. So Krishna is going to explain to him, Ashtanga Yoga has 8 procedures. So Yam, before one starts engaging in this Ashtanga Yoga, there is Yam and Niyam, the do's and the don'ts. They are rules that what a person should do, and there are rules what a person should not do. Then Asan, his asan, where his sitting place. Pranayam, the breathing. Why? So he can elongate his life. He needs a long life. The yogi needs a very long life to be able to get perfection by doing Ashtanga yoga. So for that, he needs a long life. So he has to perform pranayam. Then pratyahar. Pratyahar, I forget what it is. Anyway, then is dharana, means gradually cleaning the mind and the senses. Then dhyan, that trying to fix the mind on the Lord. And samadhi, completely absorbed. The mind is completely absorbed on the lotus feet of the Lord. In the 6th chapter, the subject of yoga is explicitly detailed. And at the end of the 5th, it is only preliminary explained. One has to drive out the sense objects, such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, by the pratyahar process in yoga. So, okay, pratyahar means control the senses. Because the eyes always want to see something. The skin wants to touch. The nose wants to smell. So in pratyahar process, the yogi has to control all these senses. Otherwise, if he's going to go around his senses, going about, wherever the senses take him, he will not be able to come to the point of samadhi. So he does this pratyahar. One has to drive the sense objects and then keep the vision of the eyes between the two eyebrows and concentrate on the tip of the nose with half-closed eyelids. So he has to first withdraw all the senses from the sense objects. Then with half-closed eyes, he has to look at the tip of the nose. There is no benefit in closing the eyes altogether, because then there is every chance of falling asleep. Nor is there benefit in opening the eyes completely, because then there is a hazard of being attracted by sense objects. So we think, oh, immediately we can come to this. No, but before we do this, we have to do yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, then come to this position. What are the do's? What are the don'ts of initially there are the rules. I need to follow these rules and I need to give up these things so that I can do this meditation process. And the place. So the breathing movement is restrained within the nostrils by neutralizing the up moving and down moving air within the body. So it's not that we just make a show that we are sitting in this position. No, now the yogi, he's controlling his breathing movement. He's neutralizing the up moving and down moving air within the body. The yogi knows how to manipulate the life airs within the body. By practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation in the Supreme. So what's going to happen is the yogi, he tries with this mechanical ways to control the senses. The eyes should not see anything, the nose should not smell anything, the ears should not hear anything, the skin has to give up the desire to touch. He has to bring all these senses under his control, and then he's preparing himself for liberation. This yoga process helps one become free from all kinds of fear and anger, and thus feel the presence of the super soul in the transcendental situation. In other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. So after such difficult things, the yogi, what happens to the yogi? After so much difficulty, he becomes free from all, he's no more angry, he gives up anger, and he gives up fear, he's no more fearful, and he feels the presence of the Supreme Lord in his heart. He can feel, he can see the Supreme, the Paramatma in his heart. He can see that. Then, in other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. This will be thoroughly explained in the next chapter. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by Ashtanga yoga. So the comparison is given here now that by Ashtanga yoga, the senses, to bring them under control is not easy. It's very difficult. And even if one can bring the senses under control, they might run away at any moment. At any moment, they can run away. But a Krishna conscious person, his senses are automatically controlled. Why? Because he's engaging in devotional service to Krishna. He's not saying, oh, I'm not going to see anything. Yes, he sees. He's seeing the deity of the Lord. He's seeing the devotees of the Lord. He's seeing everything and everyone as belonging to the Lord. He's not saying, I won't smell anything. He's smelling the incense offered to the Lord, the flowers offered to the Lord. He is, so his senses are engaged. They have things to do, the senses. So it is an easier and a faster process of liberation by engaging in devotional service. So this is what is being said in Bhagavad Gita 27 and 28. Page 5.27, 28. Coming to the point of liberation by engaging in devotional service to the Lord is easier and faster than by the process of Ashtanga Yoga. Because we do not even have the long life. By sitting in meditation, how long do we think we can sit in meditation in Kali Yuga? If we sit for 2-3 hours also, we'll think we have done a great thing. But 2-3 hours is not enough. Great yogis have done meditation for 10,000 years, 20,000, 60,000 years. Vishwamitra did meditation for. Whatever 2-3 hours in a day is going to do. So it's really impractical. And we are going to hear about it more in the 6th chapter. How that Ashtanga Yoga process. Yes, it is a process for liberation. Yes, it is a bona fide process for liberation, but it is not practical to follow this process in Kali Yuga. And in Kali Yuga, the practical process for liberation is devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.